You are listening to Arctic Heat with podcaster, weather enthusiast Simcha Lefton. March 23rd, 2022. This is an unprecedented event. This event is so strange, and it's equivalent to the Northwest Pacific heat wave that happened last June. It's almost like getting the exact same air mass, but it's over Antarctica. March 24th, 2022. Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, March 24th, and this podcast we are going to speak a little bit about the Antarctica heat dome that developed seemingly last week. It's not 100% clear what the dates were, since many of the days which are being used don't have dates. But on the AccuWeather.com, the climatology chart does show the actual dates ranged from March 17th to March 20th. It's really March 17th through March 21st, but the warmest day being March 18th. Normal high for the Russian station VOSTOK is 65 degrees below zero during that period, and temperatures hit 0 degrees over there. It went 65 degrees above normal. That would be equivalent to temperatures hitting 96 degrees here in Chicago in January. It also broke the all-time March high by 27 degrees, as the previous all-time March high was 27 degrees below zero in Fahrenheit. That would be equivalent to temperatures reaching 132 degrees in the Chicago area. You go up to 132 degrees in the month of July. Or would also be equivalent to temperatures going into the mid-90s in the month of January. At the Russian station, there was not an all-time high which occurred. However, about 350 miles away from the station, there was a station run by Italy and France. An all-time high occurred over there. Temperature hit 10 degrees Fahrenheit. That also was about 65 degrees above normal. The normal high is 56 degrees below zero. That was an all-time high over there, and that's really remarkable considering the fact that it's March. So the warmest months of the year are December and January. That's when you have 24 hours of sunlight. March, you're losing about 25 minutes of daylight a day, and then the sun sets towards the end of March, and especially by the Russian station, the sun sets completely by the month of May. But already by the end of March, we're looking at daylight just 12 hours, and the sun's angle is very low. The peak angle over there is 23.5 degrees. You know, in Chicago, it's about 25 or 30 degrees at the weakest time of the year. And at this point, it's already, if you're looking at 78 degrees north, so you would subtract, it would be about, it would be 12 degrees. That's the highest, 12 degrees up into the sky. At the equator this time of the year would be about 90 degrees right over your head. This is 12 degrees. That's it. So it's very low in the sky, and the daylight is about 12 hours long. It's really basically what it is at sunrise. I don't know what it is here in Chicago at sunrise, but that's about what it is, and temperatures made it all the way up there. Now, here's what happened. This is how it happened. Something very similar happened in the North Pole. The exact same thing, actually, in terms of the weather conditions that brought about the warmth. An atmospheric river developed on Tuesday last week, about March 14th, moved into East Antarctica. Now, it moved into East Antarctica, bringing heavy rain and heavy snow. But the areas which got the heavy rain, about an inch of rain, this area is one of the largest and driest deserts in the world. It also receives the most sunshine in the world, actually, believe it or not, in the months of December and January, about 22.9 hours a day. There's barely any clouds over there during December and January. This atmospheric river came in at the same time there was a dome of heat, a blocking high pressure system. It's being referred to as a dome of heat, but it's much different. It seems like it's much different than the domes of heat that we're used to here in the United States. Tons of moisture was inside this dome of heat, and it radiated the warmth from the moisture radiated downward, and there's actually a scientific term for that, which I don't know. You can look it up. What the scientific term for that is. It's something that we don't hear about here in the United States too much, but that's what brought all the warmth there. So it really wasn't so much the sun at all. It obviously wasn't the sun. The sun isn't doing much this time of the year at all. In the station 350 miles away, that was an all-time high of 10 degrees Fahrenheit. So to have an all-time high when we don't have anything equivalent to that. Here in Chicago, our all-time high occurred in the month of July. But to say if our all-time high occurred 2 months after July in the month of September, that also would not be equivalent, because the difference between the solar insolation that hits Chicago in July compared to September is very significant, but it's nothing. The solar insolation at the South Pole and the North Pole are higher than any other place in the world in the months in their summer months, especially the month of June at the North Pole and the month of July in the South Pole. There's more solar insolation anywhere, and it goes way down. There's much more solar insolation there than even Miami Beach. If you look up at the charts, that's the solar insolation. It combines how much sun, even taking into consideration how low the sun is in the sky, but that combined with the 24 hours day, when you put the two together, you're still looking at higher solar insolation there than Miami. But by mid-July already, the solar insolation, because the sun's angle is so low in the sky, even though the days are still 24 hours long, there actually is more solar insolation in places like South Florida, or it's certainly very close. By September, it's way down over there. So it's very different. Even in Chicago, it would be a real shocker to have an all-time high in the month of September. But it's totally different. It's over there. It's really something remarkable, totally remarkable. Scientists are saying this is something that they would have said is impossible to happen. It's not possible for this to happen until it actually happened. So now that it happened, but they still think it was impossible to happen. They also say climate change cannot explain this. This is just too remarkable for climate change to explain this. It's a very extreme weather event. We're looking at, again, 10 degrees Fahrenheit for the all-time high, which is occurring in the month of March. Some of the computer models show that some areas had temperatures 90 degrees above normal in those areas. But in terms of the actual thermometers that are over there, it seems like the peak was 67. Well, the Washington Post reports 69 degrees above normal in some locations. There are some indications, however, that from satellite imagery that temperatures may have been 90 degrees above normal in some spots. This is something which they say climate change does not explain it. At the same time, some feel that climate change may have something to do with it, and we might be in for more things like this if climate change continues. That's something phenomenal that's going on in the world. You've been listening to the podcast called Arctic Heat. I'm the podcaster, weather enthusiast Simcha Lefton. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. The following is a 1-minute trailer for the podcast Weather with Enthusiasm. Several additional feet of snow is expected by Monday morning. Yes! We have a powerhouse typhoon which has developed off in the Pacific Ocean. A big shockaroo to many of you. This is especially true in regards to what's going to be going on in Alaska. We have parts of the world that are so hot right now. Temperatures are expected to go into the low 130s. Hey, we have a special guest on our show. What is your name? A heat wave that's going to be headed to the Eilat area. We're going to have to wait before we get into the next excitement. We're going from one extreme to the next extreme. 27.1 barometric pressure. Feet of snow are falling in Japan.
Oh my gosh.
Weather. That's a time of celebration. Just Google weather with enthusiasm and they're all going to come up.